A very good evening to you all and welcome to the English News Bulletin. We trust you've had a fulfilling and restful day. Let's kick off the edition with the headlines. Analysts have noted that the unique nature of Rwanda's politics has continued to act as a wall, stopping those who try to use politics to return the country to the divisionism of the past. The Rwanda National Police affirms that although there are no penalties for pedestrians not abiding by the traffic rules, they should value their lives that can be endangered in an accident. On the international scene, Joe Biden's campaign has reiterated that he will stay in the presidential race, but with more Democrats publicly saying his chances of winning in November are slim and he could still blow out. My name is Olive Nete. It's always a pleasure to have your company. Welcome to English News in Details. A recent report by the Rwanda Bankers Association reveals a 12.5% increase in commercial banks' income over the past decade. Economic analysts suggest that this growth reflects ongoing improvements in the financial sector, offering a positive outlook for the future of Rwanda's overall economy. We have details. The report indicates that the money traded by commercial banks surged from 10 billion Rwandan francs in 2014 to 250 billion in 2023. Additionally, these banks consistently earned profits, maintaining a rate between 8% and 10%. Eric Niyongira, a researcher involved in the report, highlights the significant impact of these figures on the country's economy. This shows that banks established a new sustainable system of making use of money, making profits. Aside from loans and lending, which people often think are the only business activities that banks carry out, it was shown that remittances and other trading activities, such as forex markets, made a significant contribution to the benefits that the banks received. Economic analysts acknowledge that while the growth in commercial banks' income offers a hopeful outlook for Rwanda's economy, there's still much work to be done. Banks need to play a more active role in fostering development among the population. One key area for improvement, as highlighted by analyst and economist Teddy Kaberuka, is the reduction of interest rates on loans provided to the public. The loan rates in Rwanda are very high, which discourages people from taking loans. This does not only discourage them, but also leads to losses. When people take a loan, they don't develop as they would like because the profits they make in their work are used to repay the loan. As a result, people do not develop as they should. The Central Bank of Rwanda reports continued growth in the financial sector at the start of 2024, attributed to a decrease in commodity prices. Statistics from the National Bank show a 20.8% increase in the financial sector by the end of March 2024, reaching 11 billion Rwandan francs, up from 9 billion in 2023. The largest contribution came from banks, which saw a 21.9% increase due to effective management and increased customer deposits, as confirmed by the Central Bank of Rwanda. Now to political matters. Analysts have noted that the unique nature of Rwanda's politics has continued to act as a wall, stopping those who try to use politics to return the country to the divisionism of the past. Serge Nhore with the details.
Rwanda that was struck once badly in 1994.
Following Rwanda's experience in 1994 and the decades that preceded that fateful year, the people of the country understood the importance of good leadership and the significance of choosing the right people for decision-making positions.
After
the RPF Inkotanyi liberated this country, stopping the genocide against the Tutsi, we went for elections in 2003 and observers were sent. I remember that in places like Ruhengeri, some Europeans actually wept when they learned that Paul Kagame and not Faustin Twagiramungu had been elected. They wanted the latter because they knew he would serve their interests and not those of Rwandans, and be their puppet. People were shocked, wondering why they would care so much about the outcome of the election, when in reality they had invested a lot of money in his campaign with the aim of putting him in power. That period passed, and after being defeated, they decided to channel their efforts through what they call human rights organizations. They say many terrible things about us through them, but we as Rwandans know their tactics and they mean nothing to us. 2015 was another decisive year for Rwandans, and again they made their voice heard by deciding to amend the constitution of the country so as to be able to choose the person they knew to be the most capable to lead the country 2 years later. That was a constitution chosen by Rwandans, unlike the constitutions of times past that were tailor-made by foreigners and did not include the input of Rwandans. You remember that it was the people who submitted that request to amend the constitution that barred him from running for office again. And they did so, citing that it is their right, instructing parliamentarians as their representatives to amend the constitution. That is democracy at the highest level, and it also became evident in the results of the elections. Now I believe Rwandans need to continue building upon the achievements that have been made so that people can continue to develop. Rwandan politics are formulated in such a way as to ensure that the horrors of the past are not repeated, something that has continued to frustrate the efforts of those who seek to take the country back to that terrible time. President Paul Kagame and the RPF Inkotanyi that keeps submitting him as their candidate have created an airtight system that does not allow criminals to manipulate it. Those who call themselves the opposition use words to try and sow divisionism, saying things like Kagame was responsible for shooting down Habyarimana's plane, that Ingabire has been imprisoned, the opposition has been stifled, the media is not free, that political parties are not allowed to operate, and such things. Imagine that they want people like Paul Rusesabagina and Ingabire to lead the country. And I have seen others who say that Diane Rwigara should be president. I honestly do not know what to say to someone who thinks that Rwandans would vote for Diane Rwigara. Even abroad, there has been dismay at the absurdity of some of the claims made by those who have made unfounded accusations against Rwanda and even support people with past crimes that cannot be covered up or forgotten. With people like Victoire Ingabire, we must not forget that this woman was part of genocidal groups after the genocide and denied the atrocities that had been committed. She tried to form a political party working in collaboration with genocidal armed forces, and in 2019, a group of UN experts even issued a report on her indicating that she had tried to topple the leadership in Rwanda, using Western Union to send funds to fighters at Rwanda's borders on numerous occasions. In 2010, arriving back in Rwanda, the first thing she did after visiting the genocide memorial there was to ask that Hutus be remembered as well during an interview. I am shocked that no one looks at this woman's past and the things she did before, during and after the genocide. Rwanda's achievements after 1994 have continued to be an inspiration to those around the world that have chosen to respect the choices of the country, instead of trying to determine the future of a people that are committed to determining their own fate.
When you look at Rwanda, having one of the world's fastest growing economies, a country that for the last 30 years had been remembered majorly for genocide against the Tutsis, where genocide of the 1994 took place at a time when the whole world did not have an international criminal law instrument to try perpetrators until the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda was established, that ultimately tried only 93 cases. Now, that small country established an organic homegrown court system that tried 1.2 million cases.
Here in Rwanda, politicians maintain that the experiences of Rwandans in the past will continue to be a driving force for the people to make the right choices in the future. What they want is the sort of opposition that causes riots, breaking windows and setting vehicles alight, causing people to flee for their lives. That is the opposition they want. Well, as Rwandans, we remember what that got us in 1994, and we will not allow that sort of thing to occur again. When you look at the way things were in 1994 and compare them to the state of things now, it is simply amazing. That came about as a result of good leadership, led by His Excellency the President of the Republic, Paul Kagame. Why then should we not continue with him, so that he can help us to achieve even greater things? We are ready to support him in this, so that we can attain our objectives. Not once in the last 30 years has Rwanda experienced the sort of violence and divisionism that bad leadership brings, which unfortunately had become the hallmark of the country for decades before it was finally liberated in 1994. And if indeed experience is the best teacher, then Rwandans can confidently say they have learned all they need to in order to ensure that the future is a bright one.
Thank you, Serge, for the detailed and informative report. Now to more news. The Rwanda National Police affirms that although there are no penalties for pedestrians not abiding by the traffic rules, they should value their lives that can be endangered in an accident. This is said as drivers raise this issue, as they are mostly fined in case of such accidents. Prince Manzi with the details.
Nyabugogo is a busy region, mostly due to how it is a business-centered region. There are zebra crossings and traffic lights for pedestrians in place. It is rare to find pedestrians abiding by what these traffic lights demonstrate, which is a challenge to drivers. Pedestrians, while passing a zebra crossing, they pass wearing headsets without being considerate, and when you hit the horn, he does not hear you. Sometimes he gives you away when you are far, and when you reach, he enters the zebra crossing, and if a police officer is around, he finds you, and yet the issue is with the pedestrian. In any case, if an accident happens, someone has violated the traffic laws. Nevertheless, there are only laws that punish drivers, and pedestrians are not held accountable even if they are the cause of the accident. There's something that drivers suggest. Sometimes you notice that mistake, but it's already late. The car behind you might hit you, and you decide to proceed and be fined. Accidents that occur here usually are because of how pedestrians mistakenly cross the road. There should be penalties for them, as most of the time we are fined, and yet they caused the accident. The spokesperson of the Traffic and Road Safety Unit in the Rwanda National Police, SP Emmanuel Kaigi, emphasized that everyone who uses the road should be easy for each other to reduce all consequences of its misuse, including accidents that take people's lives. In addition, SP Kaigi reiterates that pedestrians are to take caution, as they are the ones endangered mostly in accidents, even though there are no penalties for them currently. Let's first focus on drivers. They are more afraid of penalties than the effects of their mistakes that lead to an accident. These penalties might be established, but meanwhile, people are to understand that the penalties might reduce the effects, but if the mindset changed, it will be better. So people are to think better as not accident makers. The Traffic and Road Safety Unit demonstrates that 52% of accidents are caused by motorbikes, while trucks without traction are among the most common causes of accidents. If any of the road users would abide by the traffic rules, 80% of accidents will be prevented, says the Traffic and Road Safety Unit.
Thank you, Serge. Thank you, Prince. Beg your pardon. Some small business women believe that the capital they have received has significantly transformed their lives. Those who have not yet benefited from this investment are eager for the program to reach them as well. And the Ministry of Local Governance emphasizes that reducing poverty among citizens greatly benefits the country as well. We have details. Traders in the market built for former street vendors report that the new facility, operational for 2 years, offers a safer and better working environment. Umuhoza Angelique, a trader, notes that the life on the streets was challenging, but the new market's tax-free space and provided capital have helped her business thrive and improved her family's life. We had a few investments from our trading activities when we were still street vendors. Even though it was a small amount, we brought it here and used it. but we faced losses. After that, ProFarm supported us by giving us 50,000 Rwandan francs each. As we repaid the 50,000 Rwandan francs, we were able to get bigger loans of 75,000 Rwandan francs, and some even reached 100,000 Rwandan francs. For those in our group who repaid their loans well, we rewarded them with 150,000 Rwandan francs. On the other hand, those who have not yet received capital believe that obtaining it would enable them to expand their businesses. I sell cassava flour and porridge flour. Having good capital helps in growth. For example, if I usually wholesale 10 kilograms, with additional capital, I would be able to buy 20 kilograms. This increase would significantly improve the well-being of my family, allowing us to get all necessities and health insurance without hardships. It would greatly assist us. The Ministry of Local Governance highlights that the Gira program is a national initiative designed to fight poverty by supporting projects that help individuals overcome economic hardships. Minister Jean-Claude Musabyimana emphasizes that lifting people out of poverty brings significant benefits to the country as well.
Poverty
is an enemy to everything. It is an enemy to a good mindset, an enemy to lifestyle. Poverty in general is really bad, and nobody would wish for that. However, we believe that poverty is not a legacy. We believe that one can work and be able to develop when they get the necessities to start. This is why we work with poor families. We first help them understand that being poor is not a legacy and that everyone can work and develop. Additionally, we assist them in finding capital so that they can find a way to live. The capital we provide may be in the form of money or domestic animals for livestock farming. Some people need jobs, while others need education, and all of that is included in the package we provide to help people get out of poverty. Minaloc notes that any partner arriving in Rwanda with a plan to support a project is directly integrated into the Gira program, ensuring their efforts complement those of the government and other partners. The Gira program, now in its first year, has over 300 Rwandan government partners involved. To more news, on Friday, Jubilee and Caritas Africa convened a meeting with faith leaders from all the Africa Conference of Churches, Islamic Relief, and the Jesuit Justice and Ecology Network of Africa, supported by funding from Jubilee USA Network. The meeting focused on debt relief issues, evaluating the impact of current crisis and addressing the challenges faced by Africa in achieving sustainable development and interlinked sustainable development goals. Cedric Rakoze with more.
Africa is one of the continents that is strengthened by various problems, such as identification opportunities of creating long-term finance solutions based on values of sustainability, equality, and well-being. The selected African faith leaders pointed out that religions in general have responsibilities to contribute in combating these problems if there is a cooperation between religions.
We are organizing a jubilee which talks about cancelling of the debts, the borrowing of money that our countries have done, and then we are having a lot of huge amount of money that we need to pay back, where we borrowed from USA, from different national continents, and those people are on us to say we need to pay. But with our economies in Africa, we don't have money that we can pay them back. We have shared a lot of strategies from the Muslim side, from the Ochaiches, and also from the Catholic tradition. We have put the heads together. We have put the solutions together on how we are going to move in order to help our own countries, because when the debts are not cancelled, it impacts our people.
I believe very strongly in the fact that in terms of debt relief, in our Islamic perspective, debt and granting of a loan is a gratuitous arrangement. It is supposed to be interest-free. And I want for us, and we raised it at the meeting as well, that we should be raising and looking for alternate structures different from structures that are based on interest, because all of our religions, even Christianity, Islam, all of our religions and our scriptures condemn usury and they condemn interest.
Bishop Matthew Kuka from the Catholic Church in Nigeria says that the solutions of these problems normally comes from the cooperation and interaction of religious leaders plus politicians of the governments in different countries.
So there must be areas that when we see that a president, a governor, a local council chairman is not doing the kind of things that improve the quality of lives of our people, we will be in a position to say, no, this is not right. If the president is from my village and he decides that it's only my community that will develop, maybe my people in their ignorance will celebrate. I have a responsibility as a bishop and as a church leader to say to the governor, no, our resources must be equitably distributed, whether you are a person with disability, whether you are a woman, whether you are a man, or whatever.
The conference brought together leaders of different religions in Africa and other important organizations such as Caritas Africa and Jubilee SA Network after they became that the COVID epidemic is one of the things that set African continent back and still struggling with it to this day. Faith leaders are committed to take the lead so that Africa can regain its sovereignty. Cedric Irakoze, RTV News.
And on behalf of the technical and news production team, thank you for being part of today's broadcast. Have a restful weekend.